Here we are for the final. Well, can it really be final if they can be changed at any minute? Chunk of the amendments. In this chunk, we're going to cover the last 7, but all the others have been in 5. Why is this one in 7? Well, because I don't really want to do a video on 2 piddly amendments. Welcome to Learning with Sprayberry, where we make social studies fun, easy, and educational. We're just gonna jump into the amendments. If you need a refresher or you are completely lost, check out past episodes down in the comments. Amendment 21, Section 1. The 18th article of the amendments to the Constitution of the United States is hereby repealed. Section 2. The transportation or importation into any state, territory, or possession of the United States for delivery or use therein of intoxicating liquors in violation of the laws thereof is hereby prohibited. This officially kills the 18th Amendment. This is the first time in the Constitution that we realize we made a boo-boo and flipped the script to reverse it. However, it does not officially end prohibition in some states. Instead, it gives the right to regulate alcohol over to the states. For the most part, the federal government still gets its taxes from alcohol, but it's up to the state or local government as to whether or not they allow alcohol. So, if your state doesn't allow the possession of alcohol, and you try to bring it in, you're breaking the law, breaking the law. Amendment 22. This amendment's a little bit of a jab at FDR. He was the only president in U.S. history to serve more than 2 terms. There wasn't an official rule against running more than 2 times, but Washington stepped down after 2, so it kind of became an unofficial rule. Now, FDR is the only one to ignore that, but he had extenuating circumstances. He pulled the U.S. out of the Depression and World War II. We were stuck in a bad moment, and he was doing pretty well to keep us moving forward. Not everyone agreed. Many people thought he expanded the power of the federal government way too much, especially since he was president so long. In an effort to limit the power of the president, Congress decided to push an amendment limiting the presidential term to 8 years. This even covers if you were president for 8 and then you came back as VP, because, well, technically if the president died, you might be up for a 3rd term. Amendment 23. This amendment gives DC a number of electors in the presidential election. When DC was made the seat of power, it was a small town. But in the 1960s, it was the size of a small state. A very small state, but still. Even though it had grown like that, it was still forced to pay taxes, both local and federal, but it didn't have electors under the Constitution. This amendment gives them electors, but no more than the smallest state. So now they have taxation and representation. Additionally, they have a member in the House of Representatives, but that member is not allowed to vote. So whatever good that does. Amendment 24. This amendment is sort of reflective of the 15th Amendment. So if you remember, the 15th Amendment gives all the men the right to vote, regardless of their servitude. But many southern states instituted laws designed to have the same effect as banning blacks from voting. One way to do this was a poll tax, which meant you had to pay a fee to vote. This essentially limited low-income voting and minorities from voting. But Amendment 24 removed the ability to have a poll tax, opening suffrage to low-income Americans. Amendment 25. The 25th Amendment explains what to do in case a president can no longer fulfill the requirements of his position. It states that the VP steps up, which there's nothing new there, that when the VP is called up, he gets to choose a new VP. Essentially, the president is the president until he lets the Speaker of House know he can't do the job. But if the members of the executive department say that the president can't do his job, he's out and the VP is in until a determination can be made. If 2/3 of Congress agree that the president can't do his job, he's officially out and the VP takes full responsibility as president. This method of removing a president is not designed to be easy, because then any time Congress was of the opposite party of the president, they could just remove him whenever he disagrees. Amendment 26. This sets the national voting age as 18. If you're 18, you can vote. If you're younger, you can't. Pretty simple. This popped up in 1971 after the issues with Vietnam. Thousands of 18-year-olds were recruited to go into the army and go fight in a war that they may or may not have agreed with. To make it worse, they weren't allowed to vote for the representatives who were sending them off to war. Amendment 27. No change in senators' pay scales until the next election. This is designed to keep senators and representatives from voting for a raise in their pay while they're still in office. Think about it. If you were given the right to decide how much you got to be paid for your job, you'd go big. This makes senators think about their raises. If they give a huge raise that the people won't like, they might not be elected into that cushy job. So they gave someone else a raise. Ugh. Finally, we've done it. We've covered all 27 amendments. Yay. I'll never have to do this again until they change another one. If you want more information about the amendments and what they mean for the people, check out the podcast More Perfect from WNYC. The third season is devoted specifically to amendments. They've got a new project where they've asked musicians to write their own interpretations of all the amendments. I'll leave a link in the comments below. Now that we've reached the end, which amendment do you think has had the greatest impact on your daily life? Are there any amendments which we don't really need anymore? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you like what you've seen or you found it helpful, click like. If you want to see more, I got new videos every Monday, so hit the subscribe button and make sure you catch them. Ring the bell so you don't miss out on any new information. Thanks for watching Learning Stuff with Sprayberry, where we make social studies fun, easy, and educational. Thanks.